Oh yeah. Once again, I'd like to thank you for allowing me into your rooms, your devices, into your home to talk to you for a brief moment. I for some reason they had attacked the validity of my Facebook page. They wanted me, they had the nerve to ask me to prove that I was Letaxion. Now, my first question is, who in the hell is you? Because first of all, you're speaking to me through a computer, but you're not identifying who you are. That being said, I had to go get the necessary identification in order to prove that I am, in fact, Letaxion. My question then became, do you know another? Right? There's nobody else on this planet named Letaxion. It's a name that I derived from Toussaint Louverture, a Haitian revolutionary, whose war cry was Lex Taliones. And that war cry meant an eye for an eye, or justice. So I took from Lex Taliones and modified the word into Letaxion to mean the same thing, an eye for an eye, or justice. So there's nobody else with that name. So why did I have to prove that I'm somebody who nobody else, who nobody else wears the same name? But it is what it ain't, right? So I ended up having to go into the Social Security office, get my Social Security card. I already had my birth certificate with my legally changed name on it. I had to go get my Social Security card. Got that done, got that taken care of, went down to another licensing agency and got all the paperwork together. And I'm back at you, right? So in my absence, there's a lot of things that transpired. I've been hearing about a lot of things transpiring in both Portland and Fresno and other parts of the United States as it applies to gang violence. But I'm not going to touch on that today. I want to merely reconnect with my Cobras and let the comrades know that just as well as they depend on me, I depend on them. Their presence in my demonstration and my presence in their demonstration has been one that is reciprocal. It's one that is commensalistic. Commensalistic meaning we feed off of each other. Neither one of us becoming a parasite, but we feed off of each other. And the support that I get from the comrades within this Cobra organization is phenomenal. I love you cats, man, and it's always death before dishonor, and we uphold these values, this constitution, this code of ethics, you know what I'm saying, that makes us comrades. So I wanted to shoot that shout out to y'all, man, and tell y'all I missed the hell out of y'all when when it seemed that I was incommunicado, but I was doing everything in my power to get back to you. I was talking to one of my dear friends today, a lady named Alyssa. I mean, just momentarily before we got on the phone, and we were talking about this very same thing, about this loyalty and this honor and this respect and this integrity, and how this thing, must be demonstrated, right? And she brought up the old adage, keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer. Now, most people understand that adage to mean to keep your enemy right next to you. Well, who in the hell defined it like that? Because it had to be an enemy to define it like that. It's just like me saying that if you see a bear in the woods and he's attacking you, lay down and play like you're dead. Well, the bear must have came up with that because the only person that benefits from that is the bear. The only person that benefits from you keeping your enemy close is your enemy, because you give him access and proximity wherein he can touch you, right? I think that the adage meant that you keep your enemy closer in the knowledge of who your enemy is and in the knowledge of the activity, the sphere of activity that your enemy operates in, right? So let me get that out there, because a lot of times we read these old adages and they're lost in translation, and we end up putting ourselves in jeopardy and making ourselves vulnerable, trying to enlist interpretations to these adages that are not only not efficacious for us, but it's detrimental for everything that we're trying to do. I don't have a specific topic today. I just thought that I'd get on and embrace my people and conversate with my people and let the couple of the posts that I made today be the guidelines or the structure by which I would do that. That being said, I'm going live right now. Call me right back. Just 1 second. Hello? I'm live right now on Facebook. Can you call me right back? All right. So, one post that I made today is that there's a concerted and coordinated push to turn humanity in on itself, to invert humanity and turn it in on itself. What am I saying? I'm saying that there is a coordinated push to take things out of the natural state of being and turn them into something unnatural. Now, I'm not here to speak against any lifestyle that anybody chooses to live. For the lifestyle that I chose to live was definitely a lifestyle that wasn't productive. It was a lifestyle marked by insensate violence and criminality. It was a lifestyle marked by insanity. That being said, under the circumstance that I was under the environmental pressures and environmental stimuli, whether it be external or internal, that lifestyle that I was living became my norm. It wasn't a lifestyle that was beyond the propensity of man. It was merely a lifestyle that adjusted to circumstances, atmospheres, climates, and surroundings, wherein I chose not to be the victim. So my issue is not about the lifestyle that you choose. My issue is something bigger. My issue is that there was a coordinated effort to manufacture external stimuli that will invert humanity, that will turn the proclivity of the human being inside out. I'm saying that we live in a time where there was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of frustration. And then there are ideologies and philosophies that are being offered up as the norm. And those of us who are not as adept to overstanding the time and overstanding the science of manipulation through commercialized things like television, we fall prey to those manipulations. So we have women that want to be men. We have men that want to be women. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to receive some hate mail about this issue, but I encourage you, to embrace or address what I have to say, but address it with knowledge, right? Don't address it with impulse. Don't address it with emotions. Address anything that I have to say to you with knowledge and ask yourself, is what I'm saying truth or is what I'm saying a falsehood? And if what I'm saying is the truth, you might not like the truth of what I say, but you can't say that what I say is a lie. I'll stand on everything that I say. So we have women that want to be men and men that want to be women. Now, some of you may argue that this is natural. I don't believe so. Now, just because I don't believe it don't mean it's not natural. It's just my position. So there's nothing to argue about. And if you want to enlighten me, then please do. But you have men that want to be women and women that want to be men. If you say that you believe in the natural order, the natural order of things, if you say that you believe in a God, or even if you don't believe in a God, if you say you believe in the natural manifestation of the manner in which one was created, then you have to agree that that's not natural. It's acceptable, it's legal, but that doesn't make it natural, right? And then on top of all of that, you have men that are gods that are now referring to themselves as dog. Now, we all know that if you spell God backwards, the spelling of it is dog. What is it that took us from being gods into being dogs? And why do we accept the terminology of dog and rebel against the terminology of God? I know women that have took issue with me saying that I'm a God because they don't understand the science of it. But those very same women can watch their men call each other dog, and this doesn't offend them. A dog is one of the lowest creatures on the earth. Why would you refer yourself to that if you don't have the same characteristic, right? And if you do have the same characteristic, then have at it. Don't call me dog, because I'm not a dog. I'm a God. And I'm going to call you God until you tell me, don't call you God, call you a dog. And if that's what you want to be, then bark. You're already pissing on trees in the alleys. Bark, right? But there's this coordinated effort to change the natural inkling of humanity into something that is unnatural. And somebody has to stand up and say this. Somebody has to recognize it for what it is and call it what it is. And what it is the signs of the time. What it is you have Satan playing with the God's creation, and he's turning it inside out. You know, if you read the parable in the Bible in Genesis, when God admonishes Adam to not eat from the specific tree in the middle of the garden, the tree of good and evil, tree of life, he tells Adam that you have all of these things to eat from. Adam had everything to eat from, but this tree, do not eat of this tree, for when you eat of this tree, you will surely die. This is the parable. I'm only reciting to you a story in Genesis. I'm not trying to be religious, but I'm trying to identify a mode of communication that you can understand. And most of us, we understand Christianity. This tree, do not eat from it. So what did Satan do? Satan slid up on him. Now, I don't believe that Eve is the one that caused Adam to forsake God's rule. I don't believe that, because I think that condemns woman, and that condemns divine femininity. And why would God ever condemn divine femininity? Because it is from divine femininity that he brings everything else into existence. So I don't see that part of the story, but just for the sake of this argument, we're going to go with what the story says. So Satan slides up on him and tells him, look, God didn't really mean that you would die, right? But if you eat of this tree, your eyes will become open, and you will become like him, one of the gods. Well, upon Adam's creation, according to the book, God had already gave him dominion of everything, right? So if he's already given him dominion over everything that is on the earth, every living and creeping and crawling thing, then he was a God. So how could he slide up behind him and tell him, no, well, he didn't mean that. He meant that if you eat of this, your eyes will become open and you will become a God. So how did God know that Adam had forsook his instruction? God comes, listen, this is Genesis. God comes walking through the garden, walking. He's hollering for Adam. Where are you, Adam? When he finally finds Adam, Adam presents himself to God, covering his lower half. They were naked in the garden, so he's covering his lower half now. So the first thing God says is, who told you you were naked? Right? This is how he knows that the foreign intelligence had infiltrated the kingdom that he had created and permeated the mind of a man that he made a God. Who is it that told you you were naked? Right? Because God seen that the normal state in which I created you is no longer your demonstration. So some foreign intelligence had to enter into my plan in order for you to start covering up, right? Fast forward to 2017. Who is it, man, that told you you were a woman? Who is it, woman, that told you you were a man? Who is it, God, that told you you was a dog? And the reason why I ask you these questions is because there has to have been a foreign or a negative intelligence that has entered into the psyche in order for you to start thinking these things. Now, I didn't say that I was against homosexuality. I didn't say that I was against lesbianism. But what I am saying is that this is a phenomenon that needs to be researched even deeper than it's been researched. I don't hate people that choose to live an alternative lifestyle, because in one way or another, we all have an alternative lifestyle if we're not living in a state of norm. And there's nothing in a state of norm today. Everything is abnormal, unnatural. But what I am saying is that we have to start reading the time instead of reading the skies, right? I didn't plan to get that deep into a conversation. As I said, I just wanted to reconnect with my Cobras. And the reality is, this is a reconnection, right? This is definitely a reconnection with them, because they're watching the same thing that I'm watching. And maybe they're wondering, why is it like this? Or they have their own philosophies. They have their own ideology. They have their own idea about what's transpiring. So my question becomes, once we find truth, then what? Because truth has never been vanquished. Falsehood can never vanquish truth. When truth is on the scene, falsehood vanishes. Falsehood can only exist in the absence of truth. This takes me to my next post that I put up today. I said that in my absence, there have been cats that have risen to positions of influence. And being in those positions of influence, they've misguided the masses. But I'm out now. And I'm going to expose you as the frauds that you are. I'm going to expose the lies that you've been telling the masses. And then I admonished you and I cautioned you to watch what you say, because there is a repercussion attached even to the word of man. Not only the activity, but to the word. It's come a time where those of us who know the truth have to stand, may have to die for the truth. Stand and die on the truth. This is the only way that falsehood will be vanquished. We're living in a state where everything is artificial, right? Everything is instant gratification. Everything is just add water. Everything is microwavable, including sex partners. Everything is disposable, including sex partners, husbands, wives, brothers and cousins, aunties and uncles and nephews. Everything is disposable. Our interactions with each other are disposable. Why is that? Because we're living in an era where truth has been sacrificed on the altar to falsehood. While those of us who know the truth, those of us who have the obligation of perpetuating and propagating the truth, have become so weak in our countenance, so weak in our position, and so weak in our stance, that we allow falsehood to continue to be passed on generation after generation and not check it. And then we think this madness ain't going to come to our doorstep. Well, the Cobras ain't standing for it no more. Like my son Almasi, my son One Real, and all the rest of the Cobras say, we bringing truth back. See, everybody thought that was just some type of slogan. But understand that is profound. Because in order for us to bring the truth back, then the truth had to be sacrificed The truth had to be hidden. The truth had to be left somewhere. How can a world exist without truth? Right? Because where there's no truth, there's no justice. Where there's no justice, there's no peace. Where there's no peace, there is savagery. So when you hear Al-Masih say we're bringing the truth back, or One Real Entertainment say we're bringing the truth back, ponder that fact. Ponder that fact. We've been fed erroneous information. We're living off of lies. And we wonder why our interactions between man and woman, our interactions between each other is so weak and feckless, so manufactured, so based on what another person can give you of material things, not of what another person can give you of intellect, of knowledge, of understanding and wisdom, but of material gain. And we sit up and we talk about this out loud on Facebook as if there's no shame attached to it, as if there's honor in being a user. Right? I'm not saying, let me rephrase that. Not honoring being a user, because we all use each other. That's what we're supposed to do. Right? If you see two people talking, one of them being used or both of them are being used simultaneously, there's nothing wrong with using another person. But there's something wrong with misusing another person. I want to be used, but don't misuse me. If I can't be used, then I'm useless. If you can't be used, you are useless. So plan on being used, but just don't allow yourself to be misused. But understand there's a limit to this. You see, we're given to excess. This whole nation, the United States of America, is given to excess. Everything, every aspect, every sphere of activity in the United States has to be more, more, more. I'm not down in that. We live in a capitalistic society. You know, though I don't believe in capitalism as a fundamentally sound economic system, capitalism is the reign that we live up under. But there has to be some type of moral rectitude. There has to be some type of loyalty. There has to be some type of honor and integrity. There has to be a constitution that one lives by, that will not allow him to misuse the next person that he interacts with. Right? Because you damage and you scar that person to the point where the next person that come behind that person has to deal and counsel the individual in order just to have an interaction with. And this is what we're seeing in a lot of our systems. Now I'm going to touch on this briefly, and I'm going to get out of your ear because I know you got very important things to do, right? Sisters, let me say this to you, and please don't take this the wrong way. And when I say sisters, I'm primarily talking to my sisters, but I'm talking to all women, because all women are divine in the eyes and the mind of the universe. Sisters, you must address the emotional trauma that you are experiencing in prior relationships, that you may embrace, entertain, and enjoy any relationship that you have thereafter. This is what I'm saying. A lot of times, I meet women not as far as being intimate, just meet women that I conversate or do business with. And those women have emotional scars from their past relationship that run so deep and that is so vivid in their imaginations that they superimpose those issues upon the next person that they enter into a relationship with. And ultimately, they sabotage the relationship. And when they sabotage the relationship, they tell the man that you're just like the next man, whether he was or he wasn't, right? Emotional pain from one's past seeks to renew itself by experiencing more emotional pain. So when you engage in a relationship with somebody that did not traumatize you, and you have not addressed the trauma from the prior relationship, you will manufacture a circumstance just to feel emotional pain, just so that you can feel alive. This is the psychology of trauma. And it's the same thing with men. But I'm primarily talking to sisters now. It's the same thing with men. So it is my hope that this day forward you can take a look inside of yourself and do a self-diagnostic and ask yourself, have you in fact addressed the emotional pain from your past? And if you have not, and if you be honest with yourself and you have not addressed that emotional pain, then please don't engage yourself in a relationship with another man until you do, because you will ultimately sabotage that relationship. You will ultimately sabotage your freedom. And how? I want you to think about this. If you left a man for mistreating you, for misusing you, for abusing you, and neglecting you, and that's the reason why you left that man. You left that man because you no longer wanted to experience those things. You no longer wanted to be up under the tyranny of such a man. And if that is a fact, then why do you allow what that man did to you then to affect, to influence, to inform, or even dictate how you deal with the next man? Because if you truly left him, then those things will not be prevalent. And if those things are still prevalent and you're superimposing that emotional pain from your past on the next man, regardless if he's created or not, then have you truly left that man? No, you haven't, because that man still has influence over what you're doing, though he's off abusing the next woman, degrading, vitiating, dishonoring the next woman. He still has an influence over you without even touching you, because you haven't addressed the psychology of the trauma that he superimposed upon you through his immature, unnatural, and lack of integrity, right? So think about that before you enter into a new relationship. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak with you so fluidly and so open and honestly. I welcome any dialectic that you may want to engage in on any subject that I address. I don't take a position unless I can defend my position. And I'm always open to more information, right? And I hope that if you do engage me in dialectic, that you're open to information. Yeah, I'll get back with y'all in a minute. Y'all enjoy yourselves and be safe out there in them streets and be safe out there in them clubs. And for them Cobras, man, I love y'all with all that is me, right? Let's keep it in step. We've been out of step for too long.